My dad was a minister. We had a small farm. He actually worked in a glass factory for a while, retired from there when he was 50. He retired, I think, mostly because he had early onset dementia, and we struggled with that for about 30 years. He eventually passed away in 2014. It was a very difficult time for us because we had to place him in a facility for dementia care, and as time grew, he knew he was forgetting things, and it became one of those things where the family became closer and closer until we had to have him placed in a facility. We just couldn't take care of him anymore.
My dad, Jim, I learned that he took on early stages of dementia, not Alzheimer's yet, but dementia, when I was in the Marine Corps. He just started losing memory, and with memory, the loss of memory started losing the ability to forecast thoughts. We would travel home for holidays and things like that. We as outsiders would say, oh, well, okay, there's something going on. And so we would do the normal thing, the knee-jerk reaction is let's get into the hospital, let's get into the neurologist, and everything will be okay.
From time to time, you would go and see him, of course, but it was a very difficult, very emotional time. I can remember the last time I saw him. It was tough.
It affected my mom really hard, direct impact to her. That's his wife, and that's, his love and everything. And so they weren't able to correspond with each other. The dietary part took another role, and so when you're seeing your loved one, have those things go on in their life, that's a big shock.
For the last 6 years of his life, he didn't know me, he didn't know my sisters, he didn't know my mom, to whom he had been married 67 years. And that was a really trying time to accept something like that, to understand that. This is a real issue with me because I feel like he could have had much better care.
Throughout this process, I was working with other developers and building their vision. And as information was being delivered to me from my mom, and as I was seeing it firsthand, I asked the question as to, well, how do I get involved in owning one of these? So I called Myron and said, hey Myron, if you're not doing anything tomorrow, would you mind coming down to the city and listening to this investment on a senior living facility? That was just a reassuring moment that there's another gentleman who knows my dad, who's had the same interest. I know his children. This worked well.
We are going to have a personalized care program for every individual that comes to our facility. HDC will be a modern, up-to-date, purpose-designed, purpose-built facility for dementia care and Alzheimer's care. We want to get to know the person to the maximum extent that we can. We want to know their nickname, we want to know what color they like, we want to know that they hate broccoli, and all of those things. We want to know those about them so that we can prepare our staff to know that resident on a personal level before they're ever an actual resident in our facility. We want to have an education program. One of my points with the facility where my dad was is that they never told us as the family much about what was going on, about the disease, about much of anything, in fact. And we're going to change that. At HDC, we're going to have a initial family education session. We want you to understand the disease, how you can communicate with your loved one in a manner that they will understand.
Our vision is being able to address the immediate issues of our community, give them a place to go, but give them a place to go with purpose, being able to give them a cottage-type feel, to have them have their own dining in each individual cottage. Houston Dementia Center doesn't provide meals that are frozen. We're talking fresh fruit, fresh meals every day. The logistics for food being brought into the Houston Dementia Center campus mimics any type of five-star restaurant on any given day.
The campus is 5.4 acres in size. Initially, we will be building our phase 1 portion of it, which is the community building. It will house our offices, it will have a commercial kitchen, laundry service, our offices. We'll initially have 2 cottages, so we'll have 36 residents initially. And when we go into our phase 2 program, we're going to build 3 additional cottages. And it will have an adult daycare center. We feel like this is something that the community really needs. Caregivers, family caregivers trying to handle this situation 24/7. So we think it's important to have an adult daycare center where you can drop off your loved one for a few hours or a day and that kind of thing. So we'll have that program available. Our idea is, we call it a small cottage model, a small house model. This is a cottage that is about 10,000 square feet. It will house 18 residents. We'll have 10 private rooms and 4 double occupancy rooms. And we have huge areas that are designed for activities. And our objective is for your resident to not stay in the room. We have a courtyard. There'll be lots of activities and things for them to do. Again, we're looking for what are their interests. If they were a gardener, we want to be able to have them do some gardening and things like that. So that's part of our personalized assessment program where we get to know those people.
Safety is paramount at our facility. So you've got a 5.4 acre campus along Space Center Boulevard, one of the main thoroughfares of Clear Lake, Texas and Pasadena, Texas. We've got 15-point access security cameras around our campus, not just exterior cameras, but as you approach and you enter our buildings, that's on a 3-tier safety system. So we have lanyards, we have RFID detectors. Everyone enters through the community building to get to the campus. So safety, paramount. Accountability. Who's coming to see your loved ones? These are the first things that families want to know. I wanted to know when my dad got put in the facility. Not anyone can just sign your loved ones out to the courtyards or things like that. These residents are why we're here.
HDC will differ in a number of ways. One of those is the personalized care that we will be giving our residents. We have a much better staff to resident ratio than you would normally see. One of the things that has always irritated me severely, I would say, is that most of the facilities that I go and visit, you walk into the facility and there's a huge room right in front of you. And of course, sitting there are 20, 30, 40 residents. I believe those people are simply being warehoused. I just detest that. We will not have something like that. The reason that that happens is because there's not enough staff to engage those people in activities and care for them on a personalized manner. That will not be the case with HDC. We have 1 staff person for every 6 residents. That is well above the state requirement. So we will have staff that will be looking after each individual, giving them the personal care, taking the time to sit down and talk to them and encourage them and engage with them. We want to be known throughout the industry as the place for your loved one that has dementia. We want to take our program, our level of personal care for dementia and Alzheimer's residents and spread that. We think that it is necessary to elevate the care that dementia residents need.
What we do have is firsthand knowledge. We have the resources and the ability to surround ourselves with the physicians, with the nurses, with the clinical staff who embrace what our vision is. You would want your loved one at Houston Dementia Center for several reasons, but the first one that comes to mind is comfort and a peace of mind. You know that when you drop your loved one off at the Houston Dementia Center, you know that you are doing the very best that you can do. It's our job to figure out how do we make life better for them. I feel that it's just a great thing. It's a great thing happening in Houston. And to be part of it, it's a big deal. It's awesome.